Welcome back here to the Jordy Kalana Show, daily presented by Go Chevrolet. LSU football coming out of spring drills as the Tigers, we said, man, looks like they have a top 5 roster. Competing for championships is the expectation in Baton Rouge. A lot of that is set by the personnel that walks that building every single day. And the man in charge is the general manager over there, Austin Thomas, back in Baton Rouge. It's great to have a friend of our show back home. But more importantly, for supporters of the LSU football program, to have one of the best in the business back home doing what he loves here in Baton Rouge, and that is helping Ed Ogeron build this championship program over at LSU football, whether it's through roster management or just the day-to-day operations of LSU football. Austin Thomas is the best in the business, and he is wearing the purple and gold again. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Jordy. That was quite the intro, man. But I'm blessed to be back and blessed to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. What was your biggest takeaway from you guys coming out of spring?
You know what? I think you said a lot of it right there. Is that we have areas that we need to improve. We have things that we need to work on this summer individually and as a staff and players to put ourselves in position to compete for a championship. But we feel really good about our roster. I think we're going to have the ability to compete at a high level. And what was nice about spring, in my opinion, is we were able to see kind of some experience and, get some of these guys back, some of the veterans on the offensive and defensive line and in some key areas, but then kind of infuse that with some young talent and some guys that are going to push the floor of our roster up, right, and make us competitive and push that top group to bring it every day. And we challenged our guys at the beginning of spring to give us 15 great days, not good days, great days. And kudos to our players for doing that and coming to work every day. So feel really solid about where we are coming out of spring and really, really looking forward to the summer.
You're one of the new faces, but you're back in the building. You spent some time at LSU before a couple of stints around the conference and at Baylor, but now back in Baton Rouge. But new faces are on campus with guys like Durante Jones on defense. Jake Peets is on offense running that unit. How have you seen the chemistry with the staff come together over those 15 practices and just the short time you guys have been working together heading into the offseason?
Amazing. You know what? I think when I got back to Baton Rouge, that was before any of the hires were made. And so, just working with Coach O and everything we do, kind of resetting ourselves, regrounding ourselves, and building this program again from not the ground up, but kind of just resetting our vision and saying, all right, we're going to do everything with purpose and intent. Why are we doing what we're doing? And we went out and we found young coordinators that were innovative. They had energy. They're intellectually just very, very smart. And it's been great to watch them communicate with the staff, watch them communicate with players, and bring some new things to Baton Rouge. I think it's a constant battle wherever you are, right, to continue to press forward and not be content with where you are. And so to have those guys here and see the energy they bring and their ability to communicate across the board, whether it's, coach to coach or coach to player, and create a trust and transparency with our roster has been amazing. So we're really, really excited about our new staff.
I don't know if there's been a program that has had more success in the graduate transfer and transfer portal than LSU with the guys that you've been able to just kind of plug and play out of that system. What is the method of the transfer portal from your point of view, Austin, somebody that you watch this roster day in, day out and make sure that it's managed correctly? How do you guys manage the transfer portal when putting your roster together?
You know what, Jordy, I think it's kind of twofold. I think it's a conversation that you have to have daily. I think there are people that tend not to pay attention to it. And, those are the ones that I don't think are as successful. And on top of that, you have to know your roster. And so understanding what your needs are and doing a real dive into, players that can help you and where your weaknesses could be. But at the end of the day, you have to identify those and go out and try to find the best. And I think with where we are at LSU, the model that we have, in personnel, we have an unbelievable team of guys that are constantly looking at the transfer portal, constantly pulling up film, getting college clips of guys, and just making sure that once we have that understanding of where we are, trying to identify those needs and make sure that we fill in those gaps to make us as strong as possible. So, it's one of those things that you have to balance and you have to embrace, right? I think my philosophy is, let's learn from this. Let's learn how to handle this. Let's learn how to manage this. Let's find a way to make it a strength for us as opposed to complaining about it and it becoming a weakness.
You guys have recruited at such a high level at the quarterback position that LSU is in a spot that they've not routinely found themselves with very healthy competition coming out of spring and heading into the fall. One of those guys in the competition put their name into the portal. What are those conversations like with somebody on your team that wants to enter the portal? And I say this very fragilely. Did you guys anticipate maybe losing one of those quarterbacks just because of the nature of that position and how good the competition was at that spot or is at that spot?
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. It's a fine line, Jordy. You want to create a relationship with your players, and I talked about this just a minute ago. The ability to manage your roster and kind of see things and the foresight of what is to come. I think this is the healthiest quarterback room that we've had in my time at LSU, and so I think that's a great thing. And we want guys here that want to compete. And so that room really, really pushed each other this spring. But, you have to invest in your players, and retention is now going to be a big word in college football, in my opinion, right? With the way that the transfer portal is now and this one-time transfer that's about to be passed by the NCAA, you're going to have to retain players. And so, you used to just could recruit them, sign them, develop them, send them, to the NFL. And when they were here with a lot of restrictions to get out and go somewhere else. But, now with the NCAA opening this up, you really, really have to do a good job with retention. And so finding creative ways to keep our players engaged, to keep them here in Baton Rouge is going to be really important. And, I think with a quarterback room as healthy as we have, we're disappointed to see anybody leave our roster. I think it's our job as leaders of men to continue to develop these guys holistically. So we're very disappointed anytime anybody leaves our roster, but at the same time, we understand that, especially at a position like quarterback, there's only one that can play. So we want competition. We want our guys here. We never want them to leave, but I'm not going to tell you that we probably didn't anticipate losing one here, at some point.
You guys probably have the best wide receiver class in the country coming in as true freshmen. Deion Smith was in during spring drills. He was limited with a foot injury and was able to get on the field the last couple of weeks of spring. But some of those new faces, Mason Smith looks like he's going to make an impact. And then a lot of people are very excited down the line of what Garrett Nussmeier could mean to the quarterback position. What did you make of those early enrollees that came in for spring? And how much does that give them a step ahead of the class, just kind of knowing and seeing and understanding how it works before the summertime?
The advantage that those guys have that come in the spring, it's astronomical. I mean, they're essentially sophomores, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have our sophomore class now that a lot of them, because of COVID last year, they really didn't get here till the summer. They didn't get here till June, and it wasn't even a real off season. And so you take guys like Garrett that you mentioned and Mason Smith, and there are a bunch of others that have come in and had an impact. You ask those guys, they can't even believe, the strides that they've made in these 5.5 months. And we have a great group of young guys here right now, and really looking forward to getting the rest of our freshman group here at the end of May, I guess, so that they can start summer school. And so we're really excited about that, and can't wait to put it all together and make sure that we are as strong as possible going into the season.
You have scouted Derek Stingley Jr. over the past couple of seasons as an opponent 2 years ago. And it feels like he is set to be maybe the best defender in college football. I know ESPN is in town and doing a docuseries on him through the weekend. Inside the building, what is the expectation on Stingley heading into essentially what is his money year in the draft?
Sure. Elite player. I think we can all say that, just an amazing young man. And we are blessed to have a Derek as part of our team, as a leader on our team, a kid from Baton Rouge. Just everything that he represents for this program is amazing for us, and just the way that he's handled his business the expectation. I hesitate to put an expectation on a player because they already carry so much of a load. So what we have to do as a program is manage it, right? Manage Derek, make sure that we're putting him in position to have success, and that we're doing things on our end. I think it's a lot more about us than it is him. His natural ability and talent is off the charts, and I think everybody knows that. But we as a program, as coaches, as leaders, need to do a good job of taking some of that load off of him and putting him in position to have success, and making sure that it doesn't feel overwhelming for him, that it's not a situation where he feels like he's carrying too much of the load. So we want him to know that we love him. We're in this with him, just like all of our players, and we're a team. But blessed beyond measure to have Sting. He's a great representative of us.
Austin, back to recruiting. With the dead period ending and now recruits being able to take visits, do you see that impacting on when they will actually sign? Do you see that early signing period still being the time to push for, or do you go back to that February signing date?
No, I think the early signing period is still going to be really, really key. I think most guys, especially with this opening up this year, June 1st, these guys are chomping at the bit to get out, visit campuses, and see places that they've not been able to visit for a year. A lot of times by now, even if they're underclassmen, they've gone through and seen a bunch of campuses and been to a bunch of places unofficially, and now you've got a whole class of kids in 22 and even trickle some into 23 that have never been to a college campus. So I think a lot of these guys, when this opens in June, are even though they've had a lot of communication with colleges, they're looking to get places and visit and make decisions. So we still feel pretty strongly that that December signing period is going to be the majority of signing for our class.
Good morning, Austin. I appreciate you taking time with us this morning. You said one of the key words was retention in the world of college football. We kind of saw it with the offensive line this year, everybody coming back. How do you think we can keep building on that, what we did with the offensive line? And you think that's going to be a continuing trend with that strategy we did to get the offensive line to come back, of keeping guys at LSU like that?
Yeah, I think, I think it's really, really important. Again, I think it comes back to your relationship and building relationships with your players, right? And that starts in the recruiting process, but, it carries on into their career at LSU. And so, making sure that we're developing them holistically and that we're providing the best of the best for our players, when they get here, whether that's, academically, athletically, socially, spiritually, whatever you say, all walks of life, we're here to be there with them. And so, it's a fragile dynamic, right? Because you have guys that are probably going to be backups that could be starters other places. And with the rules the way they are now, you have to find a way to keep those guys engaged. You have to find a way to keep those guys happy, because you don't want them leaving and depleting your roster. So finding a way to continue to develop them and make them see and feel like they're part of what you're doing while waiting their turn. It's going to be a situation that I don't think any of us have been through. So trying to walk through it the best we can is going to be important. But at the same time, I feel very, very confident in who we are and our leadership and what we represent to get that job done.
Austin Thomas, General Manager, LSU Football, joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Go Chevrolet. Last one, we'll get you out of here. I know you're busy on this Thursday. Thank you for your time. You guys anticipate 100,000 Tiger Stadium next year, or at least planning as far as normalcy goes for the season?
You know what, Jordy, we are planning that way. I'm going to leave that up to our state and our local health officials and LSU officials to make sure that we do everything and follow proper protocol. But we would love nothing more than to play in front of a full Tiger Stadium this fall. And while we feel like things are trending that way, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. So we're gonna follow the lead of our leadership, and we will go from there. But definitely looking forward to the fall, and let's get this thing knocked out so that we can play in front of 100,000.
Follow him on Twitter. It is easy to find him. He is at LSU Football GM. He is Austin Thomas, back home running the football program alongside Ed Ogeron, as they have a great roster going into the summer and off season before next season. And the recruiting class in the state of 2022 is just dripping with talent. We appreciate your time as always, AT. We'll catch up soon.
Hey, thanks, Jordy. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate all you do. Y'all have a blessed day.
Yes, sir. There he is, Austin Thomas, checking in from LSU football this morning with a little insight